So to kick it off, this is episode 30 of Manifest Mondays. We appreciate y'all tuning in, man. The Spot Network. Man, so today is going to be a very reflective conversation. Today we're going to be honoring a lot of people that have transitioned on, that we've lost. Today we're going to be talking about processing loss and grief
Right.
and all that entails. Very heavy subject, but as heavy as you want it to be, I think it all is perspective, of course, but
Right.
it's we all deal with. You know, we're all mortal.
Right.
Life is finite. It's not like we can live forever. No one's immortal. So it's something that is very real and something that a lot of us process on a daily. And so yeah, to kick it off, man, what do you think about Memorial Day? Like, you know,
Right.
we just talked about having the day off, right? What's the
Right.
first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Memorial Day, either the day itself or Memorial Day,
Right.
as everyone refers to it as?
All right. Before I get started, let me for those who are here, please make sure you follow the page. I just tag it in there, the Spot Network Official. Make sure you just follow the page. We have a lot of all the videos that we do here. We post them on YouTube, so make sure you show us some love. But yeah, let me get started, man. Because I'm not, like I said, I'm not originally from here, so Memorial Day for me, bro, it's always been like just having that day off from school or
Yep.
work, barbecues, pool party. It wasn't like anything more significant,
Yeah.
right, to me. But however, it's more than just like parties and like barbecues and just going out to Vegas and stuff. It's to celebrate your loved ones, right? Originally, like veterans and stuff, but now I think it's a day to like celebrate people who pass on, people who transition, and to like sit down and reflect, think about them, and realize. I think sometimes, man, hey, man, we're here today, and there's gonna be a time we're not gonna be here. And back home, we call that Decoration Day in Liberia, right? It's when
Yep.
you will go to the cemetery and show love to your ancestor, people who passed away. You will
Hmm.
clean their grave, put flowers and all that.
Yeah.
So we have a similar concept back home. It's more like Decoration Day, right? You go and show love and respect and clean the grave. You see like people just going back. The cemetery is full, bro.
Yeah.
People are just there showing love, playing music. It's like celebration of life too, right? Because when it comes to like death and stuff, that is one of those things that we look at, we're sad. By the end of the day, sometimes like you have to like celebrate the legacy of the person, right? So we saw that a lot growing up back home. People go and just show love, play and decorate, man. So yeah, for me, just learning more about it, it's not just about parties and like barbecues and stuff, right? Even though I want to do those
Yeah.
things too, but just like time, especially if you're somebody who loves a loved one or someone close to you, like just reflect on that and just also be grateful, man, knowing that you're here and just be appreciative of it. What's your thoughts on that?
Gratitude is everything. I fully support that and echo those sentiments a million times. As far as Memorial Day, to your point, growing up, I did grow up here in the States, and it was just very much, I knew that typically Memorial Day weekend was when the pools all open. So it was just hit the pool, man, gonna live it up, have a good time. To your point, barbecue, enjoy myself, and just really enjoy the extra time off, right?
Right,
Whether that be from school or from work. That's just kind of like the mindset around it. You don't really like process the significance and the history of what Memorial Day is, and I think that transitions over time. And the older that you get, the wiser that we get, and just
right,
very real. When we face the reality of what life is,
right,
and losing loved ones and what that looks like, and the hurt that you go through and all the different stages of grieving and stuff like that, you can't help but want to pay your respects, right? And so I
right,
think is something that it kind of like transitioned to, at least for myself. I can't speak for a lot of people, but
right,
you bring up a good point. You talked about Decoration Day, and back in
right,
Liberia, I very beautiful celebration.
right,
That's just like, granted, death is a very sad thing. It's
right,
it, it's really a burden for everyone who's living, right?
right,
It's it's for everyone that has survived that person. It becomes a burden, and if you let it. But I think it's also just like something that you learn to cope with, and it's our responsibility as their successors to continue on their legacy and what they lived for,
right,
um, like that. And so I think Memorial Day is a beautiful thing. I know specifically in the U.S., Memorial Day first occurred. It for anyone who doesn't know, Memorial Day first occurred on May 30th, 1868.
Wow.
It was originally known as Decoration Day, so I'm actually
Right.
brought that up
Right.
because Decoration Day is very much a thing, or it
Right.
be, and then it eventually became Memorial Day. But it was originated to honor the Union soldiers who died in the American Civil
Right.
War. Uh,
Right.
I think, at least for myself personally, I haven't lost anyone in military
Right.
service. Like I do
Right.
have members, family, and friends who serve in the military, but no one who's passed.
Right.
So uh, that I can't really speak on that for my own self personally, but I have dealt with loss just on a personal
Right.
aspect, like
Right.
personal for my own self, and having lost loved ones and what that looks like. And so I think on days like this, you just take a moment to take a step back and just reflect on
Right.
everything, their lives and what they mean to
Right.
you and to your
Right.
gratitude that you feel for these people. And just I think the ability to be able to love, man, and share that with people, and yeah, just process all of that and all the emotions that come with it. It's obviously a very up and down process when it comes to loss and
Right.
grief, all that entails.
Right.
I think Memorial Day is all encompassing of that. You know, it's
Right.
really a day to honor your loved ones. You
Right.
know, I know specifically it's meant for people in the military, or for it was originated for people in Union soldiers and whatnot. But
Right.
it's transitioned on to something. Hey, like let's go out and celebrate
Right.
our people and everything that they meant to us, and let's have a good time. Yeah, we're gonna barbecue. Yeah, we're gonna play music loud. We
Right.
we're gonna laugh and we're gonna smile and do all those things. But
Right.
uh, it's really just about honor at the
Right.
end of the day.
No, that's true. That I can also see it being like a day that, right? Let's say, for example, someone if you really love someone close to you, I
Hmm.
think it can be like one of those days that like you might feel a certain way because now
Hmm.
you're actually thinking about that loss,
Yeah,
right? Now you have to like process that loss all over again, right?
all
Because
over again.
like, so I think it's kind of like important to like reach out to like people, especially friends and family that you know, in that experience
Mhm.
those laws that are traumatic. Like reach out to them, man, because you know, no, yeah, we are celebrating, right? But at the end of the day, I think with other people, it can be hard on them, right? Because now you're thinking about you processing our laws and stuff. So then my next question would be like, we something we talked about earlier, like how do you like process that grief? Like
Mhm.
if you experience loss for you, for example, who lost your little brother? Like how do you like
Yeah,
going forward? How do you process that now?
it's dealing with loss and grief, man. It's a lot. It's just there's 7 stages of grief, and you truly go through each and every one of those stages and those phases, and it's a very thing. And depending on the closeness of how someone of someone to you
Right,
and you, I think really really dictates how you process it afterwards.
facts.
People very close to me. I've lost my dad. I've lost my baby brother. I've lost all my grandparents and stuff like that. And I've
Right,
just dealt with a lot of loss in my life, and it's a very interesting process. It's a very grueling process. I think you reach a lot of low lows, but I think when you do come out of it, you do see new highs, and just and I when I say new highs, I mean just like new thoughts and perspectives of of what life means and how
right,
important. So I think
right,
it appreciate things at a whole new level. So you are
right,
able to experience new highs,
right,
and take things for granted as much as you probably used to. So for myself personally, loss is something that I typically distance myself away.
right,
Like
right,
I'm the type of person, I just want to be able to process things on my own. I don't necessarily need someone to console me and hold me throughout the entire process, even though
right,
that those sentiments are appreciated, right? You love the people that are there for you and want to be there for you.
right,
But at the time, I'm just the type of person, I'm like, hey, I just need to be in my thoughts and truly be able to just process this in its entirety, because oftentimes at first it feels surreal, right?
right,
It's it's almost hard to believe, because it's
right,
yo, I just had a conversation with this person like a couple of weeks ago or however long ago it was, and I would literally remember just like vividly
Right,
them like giving me a hug, like
right,
long ago,
right,
like how great it made me feel. And it's this thing that you just don't want to believe and can't believe. And so I think
right,
that's initially how you feel about loss.
right.
And
Yeah, like it's surreal. Like you don't believe it at
like
first.
there's no way. Like it just if it is it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's also just like, man, when they say you're here one moment and gone the next, it's
Oh,
so real
oh
because
yeah, bro.
life can be snatched away at any instant,
Right,
and
right.
it's we've seen it happen repeatedly.
Right,
Of course, even
right.
recently. I wanted to take a moment to give a shout out to Torian, man. I know I haven't been able to address that um, on a bigger scale, but I just wanted to take a moment to shout out to Torian, man. He was a previous roommate and friend of mine. I didn't know him to like the biggest degrees, but just someone who was our age who just randomly passed very recently, and that was something that was just very odd for me to
Who?
hear, and then B, to just be like, man, like we used to live together and we made videos together, and I talked to him last year, and granted we didn't talk often, but it's moments like that where it's just like, dang, like you don't want to believe it. It's this disbelief, and you go through all these different phases of acceptance and all that stuff. And I don't want to go into all the details of all the 7 stages of grief just
Right,
yet, that eventually, but it's very much just a journey, and it's something that's an ever going thing. Like
right,
it's not something that you truly get over.
right,
It's just something that you learn to deal with, right?
right,
Learn to cope, and it becomes a piece of who you are now, because you're always going to wear that as like a badge of just like of love, of honor, and it's a lot. Yeah, I think that's the simplest way to
right,
put grief and loss. A lot.
right. So hold on, your roommate,
You
Tori?
remember Tori?
Yeah,
You
bro.
didn't know he passed?
I have no idea. Like
Yeah,
I'm just
he passed.
when?
I think like 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
What happened?
I honestly, I don't know. I don't know the details, man. I honestly, Tanny was the one who hit me up. Tan man reached out to me, and he was like, "You hear the news?" And I was like, "What news?" And he was like, "About Tori." And I was like, "I know a couple of Tories, so I wasn't even really sure who he was talking about." And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Yeah, bro, Tori. Like, weren't you his roommate?" And I was like, "Oh, that Tori?" I was like, "Yeah, what happened?" He's like, "Yeah, bro, he passed." And I was like, "What?"
What?
So
Yeah, that's that. We
the fact that Tanny heard it before me, I was just like, "Wait, what?" And so obviously
what?
first thing I do is I reach out to people, and I'm trying to figure out what happened, because this caught me out of left field. Like, I
I,
mean, I
I'm
was,
shocked right now too, bro. Like I was like, what? Like,
yes,
are you
Tori,
for
my former roommate, bro, he passed. And, Tori was younger than us. So
that's
it's
what?
wild. It's wild, bro.
That's bro. That's
It's,
insane.
it's crazy, bro.
Because when you say give a shout out, I thought he like reached out to you recently about
Mm-mm.
like
I wanted to take a moment to address that, man, because it's not something that I've really
wow,
spoken on, and it's something that I've been trying to figure out how to go about it. But it's just like, you just want to take a moment to just give a shout out to people, because even though I didn't know him extremely well, like, yeah,
right,
we were, we he was a friend. He was obviously one of Rich's best friends, and that's how we really got connected.
right,
But regardless,
right,
I always just want the best for people, right?
right.
And when you hear of just like sudden tragic loss,
Damn, bro. That's
it catches you off guard. I think it's one thing when someone passes and you expect it. Like,
right,
let's say deathly ill or something like that. That's a different story. But
right. Give you time to like process and adapt and
exactly,
adjust mentally.
exactly. But when something happens suddenly and you're not expecting, that's that's a piece of life that it's just you don't even know how to process that, right? Because someone you're not expecting to pass just randomly passes, it impacts you in a completely different way. Like it's to your point. You look stunned, bro.
Bro, I'm confused right now because I'm thinking about it. Like I'm like losing my whole train of thought. It's like it's shocking because I didn't like expect that, bro.
Yeah,
Like damn.
yeah. What's good?
Fuck. What's going on, Ray?
Man, I'm listening to y'all. This deep topic.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Uh, First of all, I'm uh, sorry for what happened to your friend, man, and your buddy that your roommate.
yeah.
It's tough.
I really do.
First of all, so like, yeah, and I think grief, what y'all talking about, is very deep because it's a natural part of life.
It is.
It's not something this esoteric concept, but since it hits in times it's unexpected, it sends us through a loop to notice like how intangible this earth plane really is. It's not something that was meant to be forever.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It can't. Now the unfortunate thing is people don't take time out to, I guess, really study how the transitions work in life. You know what I mean? And I think I was gonna show y'all this book. I don't know if y'all seen it. Y'all ever saw this?
Oh,
Oh,
the giant within. Mm-mm.
it's about Tony
Yeah,
Robbins, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
heard
So
about the book.
interestingly enough, earlier this this particular book is talking about breaking patterns and introducing new patterns. So, with new patterns create new concepts in your mind, and you get new experiences. And so much your mind can relate or associate an emotional activity and link it to a new experience, then you start to create a different atmosphere that you live in. And so like grief, I think it comes in many forms. Like when I was think 23, my homie Breland, had killed himself.
Mm.
Shocking. It sent like a shockwave through my body. Like immediately when I heard it, I went to the ground and I started crying. And it was so like breathtaking because prior to that, I didn't know that he was even dealing with those things for it to get to that point. Right? So obviously, like that was one of the shock. And then after that, it said to him like, "Yo, this is one of my homies. I used to talk to him all the time." I think I ran out to like this grass field, tears all down my cheek, and I'm praying and just asking God, like, what? I don't really understand it, and I'm not gonna say I'm an expert, and just because it happened to me, I do understand it. But I think what I got from it was more so like my curiosity began to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Somebody so jarring, it distanced them from the experience and never go into it,
Mm-hmm.
right? I've done that with certain things, and some stuff can pique one's interest. So my wife had recently had what we call a spiritual awakening. So she was just
Right.
more open, like the world outside of this one,
Mm-hmm.
all forms of religions, philosophies, different ideologies. Like she's incredibly like immersed in
Mm-hmm.
it. She had got into that right before this occurrence happened because my faith, I think, how I was taught Christianity didn't really create the answers I needed at
Yeah.
that time. You know what I'm saying? But instead of abandoning it, I go into it. And you get hit with things that challenge you to be like, let me start questioning like the spiritual realm or whatever it might be.
Right.
So as I go into it and I'm getting connections and everything, I think it opened up this idea that, this is not permanent. And I've been experiencing death my whole life, like around me, whether it be my aunties,
Right.
best friend, or my Uncle Joe. I mean, family members. And when something like that happens so early and you deal with it from a sense of grief point, you always have to have like some type of reference or some type of inkling or some type of knowledge of how afterlife works.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that produces faith, but it can't stop there, right? Because it's a whole argument now going on with politics, religion, belief systems. And I'm not here pushing a particular belief system, but
Right.
when I am saying get curious. If anything happens that's that jarring and it's spiritual, I would just say get
Right.
curious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Start asking questions, real questions. If those questions emotionally charge you, ask those questions.
Yeah.
Ask them. Sit in solitude with yourself. Seek
Yeah.
answers. Because once you ask a question, you get an answer and your brain searches for it. So I was bringing up this book because it was talking about patterns, and it was interesting because once you introduce a new pattern and a new train of thought, it becomes a reference for you. And so that reference point more outlet and more emotional ranges that you can choose from to place an experience. Because if you don't have scales of emotion, then it's going to be hard for you to quantify how affected you were by it and what you need to do with it. So I'm curious from an emotional standpoint as well. How do I really think about this? This is the closest of friend, but this is something that's crazy. This ain't my mama, but something, it's a scale for that. And I think once you can understand the scales of emotion that you're in, you can see how serious you were affected by something. And that's important. It's important. I think it's a proper healing measurement for every individual. But at the same time, I noticed that like you have to know how much something really affected you in order to get something that really could heal you. Don't submit your for me personally, let the feeling come up. Let it through your body, like let it really feel your energy up so you can be aware of it. And then what it does is it heightens you to other people who have those same experiences. You know, I'm more susceptible or I'm more in tune and I'm more connected when I heard that somebody lost somebody or suicide. But now I can see what a person is going through. So as opposed to judging, right now, and this experience that I went through, to like, oh, okay, that's what that feels like. That's what it feels like. Oh, that's what death feels like. Oh, that's what birth feels like. You know, our guys, and I think once you ask why certain things make you feel certain ways, and you have an understanding of why they make you feel certain ways, it's easier to navigate grief and loss. Like you know, Frank Beverly Mays, like it's joy and pain, sunshine and rain. It's not like they come joined, but depending on how you use those energies is what you know. So I know some people, they take a loss and then they put that energy into a foundation, and so or they use whatever that last message was from somebody that they had passed. You know what? I'm gonna put this in the name of. And I believe in afterlife. So I believe in heaven. I believe in hell. I believe in like ancestors. I believe it's people that's ascended, that's on the other side, that help you navigate through these times. I really do. So somebody is even lost, but again, I'm curious. They have like thousands of years worth of information on all different type of topics. I only been here 33 years, bro. I can't say I know everything. I can't say that my 33 years of knowledge would trump thousands of years of study. But what I will say, get curious and start seeking certain things, and you can look at things from a different perspective, and you'll start having experiences, and it'll tap you in more to your celestial being. And that's important if you're navigating through loss and grief, man. And it also prevents you from making certain decisions. You know, present account. You like, man, it is certain things I have to atone for at the end, but not even from a fear factor. Is like, you need to have a heart-centered perspective so you can navigate this earth plane, because it's critical to understand how people are emotionally and spiritually so you can move accordingly, because there's a lot going on. So all things happen because it attunes our senses. And I think a lot of people lock their senses down. I mean, it's happening every day in the world. It's kind of hard to tune into everything without having some type of like, all right, I can't just be out here crying all the time. Like I got them at the same time. Something jarring, I think, affects your senses, so you understand, like, okay, I can't ignore it either. Like when I kids, I sense danger. We gone. You attune, and navigate emotionally and spiritually, especially, and that's contributive in every way. As a businessman, you have so many different emotions. Like if you have a sense of something that connects, right, with people. Let's say you got an e-sport, or let's say you got a cafeteria that feeds all of these families. One of the workers could be responsible for making hundreds of meals every single day, you know, for the kids. she can experience loss. If you're callous to that, you won't know how to properly navigate that situation or be able to communicate with her. And
Mm-hmm.
going on in America, man, like a lot of people, unfortunately, that had the hood or project experience had a lot of
Right.
loss.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it sucks because it's like when they're in a position to do better or produce, folks who haven't experienced loss don't know how to have that empathy to connect with them to them.
Yeah.
So
Right.
frustration and a lot of people be mad, you know what I'm saying? But that's
Yeah.
not going to be issue. So I just say like experience these emotions. You can help that lady in the cafeteria, you know, and help her family. You can see what people emotionally need. So
Right.
I think it's one of those tough things you don't want to happen. Is like trying to know what in Texas is like, but you got to learn it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm glad you brought up that point because loss. I want to I just want to like emphasize this point as much as I possibly can. For anyone who hasn't experienced, you are a very fortunate person in life. You know, like to be able to navigate life without any loss is truly a blessing. And don't ever take that for granted because when you do experience it,
Right.
it's something that, to your point, Ray, it breaks your entire pattern. It breaks your spirit. It breaks a lot of things. And to
Right.
your point, there's a lot of directions you can go. I
Right.
think the most important thing to do, or that you go, is and really look within yourself and point, right, just process all of that, sit in it. Sometimes it as difficult as much as you don't sit in the shit sometimes, that's the best thing that you can do, and just truly take a moment, several moments, however much time you need to really process that and figure out a way to get out of that space, you
Right.
know, to get, because I don't want to necessarily say get back to your normal self because I don't think that's a thing. I think just get back to a place where you can just confidently walk through and and experiencing something new and a new perspective and truly just be ready to be your best self as you can because that's all you. So yeah, I do just want to emphasize anyone who hasn't experienced loss, very
Yet.
fortunate. Don't take
Yet.
that. Don't take that for granted because it will happen at some
Right.
point. It's just
Right.
it's inevitable. We all know death is very real.
Yeah,
It's very real, and having lost people close to me, you know, it's something that you question a lot. You question yourself. You know, you question, is there more I could have done? Even if it may not have any relevance to you or like their health but you still sit there and question yourself like, dang, is there more that I could have done? Or
Right.
like, did I tell this person I love them? When was the last time I texted? When was the last time I called them? When was the last time we had a conversation? When was the last time we gave each other a hug? There's so many things that you process in that given moment. And it's like, it can be overwhelming. You know, it can be very overwhelming, and that's really important to just sit and process it. Uh, but it also depends on the situation because
It's a lot of echo Z.
oh, Ray, can you uh, your mic?
yeah, I can hear you. But I got the speaker though, so
Uh.
Uh,
Yeah.
can you mute yourself because we keep echoing? Can you, can you hear it now?
Yeah.
Good.
Better now. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So um, what was I saying?
Just
Uh,
talking about just like overall how.
fortunate if you don't experience
yeah,
loss.
yeah. If you haven't experienced loss, it's a very fortunate thing. Yet, because you know, like we said, it's something that will happen, and it's just a natural part of life. But like I said, it really depends on the gravity of the situation and how close that person is to you. Because, for instance, let's say you lose your spouse or something like that. As much as I want to retreat and cry and I will do all these things and just um you know just give up at certain times. I may not have the ability to do so. Let's say I have kids. Let's say I gotta plan this funeral and all these things. Like there's so many other things that come along with that
Right.
that's why I say like it can be so overwhelming because you know, let's say someone truly close to you, like your parent passes or something like that. It's just like, bro, I don't really have time to be sad right now because I got to figure out how we're gonna take care of all these expenses, how
Right.
how we gonna coordinate everybody logistically to get out here. Yeah, I want to like sit here and be sad, but I don't have time to do that right now.
Right.
And then that's when, once everything has kind of blown over and the dust has settled a little bit, that's when you can kind of sit in it. So it really depends on the closeness of the relationship to you, because I think that also is going to dictate how you process
Right.
things. But it just is very important to, all those 7 stages of grief, you got to go through all of them, and you will,
Right.
as much as you deny it, or like as much as you try to avoid it, you will go through it. It's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, you're going to question a lot, you're going to question yourself, your faith, everything, you know.
Right.
And it's an opportunity to just reflect, and you can come out better or you can come out worse,
Right.
and it can
Right.
be very heavy either
Right.
way.
I think Ray mentioned a good point earlier, right? He talked about spirituality, and I think one of the good thing I think is important, right? Because I feel like whenever we encounter loss or just know that that happened to someone else, it's like a humbling experience, because to realize that you start to like think about your own mortality, in a sense that you're like, damn, that could have been me. I'm not better than that other person.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like humbles you in a way that, and then you try to think about, is this more than just the physical realm of life?
Yep.
It's just something more of that. And I think sometimes you try to like explore more, right? And then that's what he talks about, like being more curious, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
you try to think about, man, like, what am I doing? Because that could have been me. Like, how do I position myself, right, for like the afterlife, right? I'm not trying to be super religious. Now you're trying to think about, okay, should I get closer to God? Should I
Yeah.
behave a certain way? I think sometimes it kind of like shape who we are as a person once we experience those kind of loss, right? Because now it's like redefine our whole perspective. We make us more have more empathy towards people. Because even like just hearing about Tori, bro, I'm like, I'm still processing now. Like, bro, that's crazy. Because I remember like when we used to go to your house and all those like videos and stuff we found, man, like how he had planned for the future, and knowing that all that plan is all gone,
Yeah.
bro. And like, damn, bro, like I'm not better than him. I'm blessed, right? I'm grateful to be here.
Yeah.
Even, bro, when I was having surgery, right, it made me realize, like, damn, bro, life is fragile.
Mm-hmm.
A couple months ago, I was okay being able to run. Now I'm in a hospital bed, bro. Like, I'm about to have surgery, Think about your own life, man. It's kind of like scary in the sense that you know that your time here is just like limited. So it kind of like encourages you to go harder. I mean, sometimes if you're in the right mindset, man. While I'm here, I just gotta do what I have to do, right? Make that impact, because I never know when it's gonna be my last breath.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a humbling experience.
Loss and grief is gonna affect every. No one is gonna have the same grieving journey as the next person. It's always your process is always gonna be unique to yourself. So I could try and give you all the advice that I can and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's just something that you gotta process and deal with on your own, and you gotta figure out how to best get out of that. I will be here for you, or like I'm sure if you have a supporting cast of people who are there for you, there's a lot of people who want to be there for you,
Right,
but there's no amount of words or actions that anyone could do to like just make everything okay, because it's just not okay,
right,
and it's okay to not be okay too, like it's
right,
to be able to just grieve and be sad and be mad and be curious and just all the things, right?
right,
That's but the burden that we carry is that we can't dwell in that forever, though. We can't
right,
we can't, can't live in that forever, because we still have to exist, right? We still got to pay
right,
bills. We still got to adult. There's still so many things that we have to do, that life doesn't stop. That's the crazy piece of it, right?
right,
Is when you're nothing else in life stops.
right,
The only thing that stopped, the only thing that ceased was that person existing here in the physical
right,
realm. That's the only thing, and it hurts, right?
right,
But it's just nothing else stops, and it's just like, how you got to figure out, you got to dig deep. How do I keep going? And
right,
that's going to be a question that no one is going to have the same answer to.
right,
When Pete dealt with the loss of T, like, I know that's something that still impacts him to this day and always will, right?
right,
And I told him, I was just like, bro, like, there is nothing I can say or do that will make this situation okay.
right,
Uh, but just know that, like I'm here for you whenever you need me. Like if
right,
there's ever any moment that you just need someone to talk to, or
right,
you just need to clear your mind, you need to get away or something like that, just know that I'm here. And I think that's really the best way you can go about things, because you don't want to be too imposing, right? Because regardless, even though I've processed grief, he isn't going to process it the same way that I am. You know,
facts,
you're not going to process it the same way that we do. So as much as I want to show up for you and do everything that I possibly can, I'm not going to necessarily know how to best attack that, because at the end of the day, like, you only know what's best for you, and you're going to know how you want to navigate this, and how you want people to show up for you, right? So like,
right,
I like letting it be known to that capacity of just, I know a lot of people want to show up for you, and that's a good thing because people care for you, right? But I think people can sometimes be imposing,
right,
you know like they're trying to force themselves upon you and whatnot, and it's just like, nah, bro, like that's not what I need right now.
right,
I need this, or I need that. And so I think it's important to show up for people the way that they need you to show up for
right,
them, like, and the best way to do that is to ask,
right,
and
right,
they may not have the answer for you right then and there, and
right,
that's okay. You all
right,
need to be okay with that. That, like, hey, this probably isn't going to be anytime soon,
right,
and you may not talk to this person for months, or it could be upwards of a year. Who
right,
knows? You never know how much this deeply impacts this person or yourself or
right,
whoever is grieving. So just be mindful of how people are processing it, because no one's going to deal with it the same exact way, and you can't project your own sentiments and thoughts and feelings upon other people, because they're going through something
right,
that, even though you may have experienced a similar loss, it's hitting them differently, and they
right,
are a complete person.
right, right. We're all different. But this is gonna be like my question, right? Since we all know it's inevitable, it's gonna happen. Is there a way that we can like mentally prepare for these uncertainties in life, bro? Is it like
No,
you know?
no. The simple answer is no, bro. To It's funny. I was having a conversation with the homie Kev,
Right,
because Kev lost his mom, a few years back, and it's something that we had a really, really, really deep conversation about just loss, and how much it reshapes your identity, and just the impact on your life that it has. And like, I said, people who haven't experienced loss yet, you're very fortunate, and it's something that, like, I don't even know how to even what to say or do to, like, want to prepare somebody. Like, if you
right,
were to ask me if I prepare to lose someone close to me,
right,
I honestly tell you, like,
right,
I really don't. Just the only thing I could probably say to you is that it's going to
right,
happen. That's the only thing you need to
right,
know. It's going to happen. You don't know when,
right,
know how.
right,
Just that is going to happen, and that's the best advice I can give you, because it's going to be something that it truly shakes you to the core. And
right,
like I said, depending on, like, the closeness of the relationship, right?
right,
Like, if you lose like a third cousin, it might be a little different than
right.
like losing mom. Of
Yeah, I
course,
think your brother, right?
different.
Your
Like,
sister, yeah,
so you're gonna process those things differently. But when you do lose somebody close to you, because you will,
right,
it's something that you can never prepare for, bro. Like,
right.
it's just something that when it happens, and it's just,
You
you just
gotta go through it.
and like I said, to that point, there's people like myself, and you have a huge supporting cast of people who are always going to be here for you. But there's nothing that we can say or do
Right,
that's going to either help you prepare for it, or be going to make the thing going to make it okay when it does
right,
happen, because it's heavy, man.
right. I agree. And then, one thing, another good topic is might be a little different, right? Don't you think, like for us, especially for us, the young folks, right?
Hmm.
And I was like, life insurance, bro. I feel like there's something that, we don't like to, I feel like these type of conversation is like a taboo. We don't want to talk about all these sensitive conversation. And for me, it's like, man, especially I think that's when I believe like life insurance is important.
Oh,
If you're somebody who don't, yeah, if you're not watching it, don't think, oh, I'm young, this is never gonna happen to me. Life. I'm not. Disclaimer: I'm not an insurance salesman. I'm not here to sell life insurance to nobody. But like we said, man, you never know the uncertainty. Life is so unknown, right? And I feel like life insurance having that helps, right? Whenever God forbid something happens to you, it just alleviate the burden on the people you leave behind.
Yep.
So yeah, now they have to deal with grief, but at least they don't have to worry about, like, from the financial perspective, how's that going to cover all the experience that comes to that.
Yeah.
So for other young folks, young people, man, for us, I think it's important to have
Yeah.
that.
It's I couldn't have said it better myself, bro. It's so important. Insurance, the importance of insurance, bro, is it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. It's
Right, right,
never too young for life insurance. You're never too young for a will. You're never too young to have these conversations about whether you want to be buried or
right,
cremated or
right,
any. There, I know a lot of this stuff seems taboo, and it's just like, oh, we live in this facade of like life is going to be forever, right? And it's we're gonna live these long lives. Now, granted, God willing, I will live a very long and fruitful life.
right,
Absolutely. But at the same time, on the other side of the coin, we know how very real life is and how
right,
things happen. We see it in the news every day. We see what goes on in the world. We see what goes on right next to us in our neighborhoods. We
right,
see what goes on miles away, with Hamas and stuff like that. So, like, you see all these things that go on in the Congo, all this stuff. You see all this like craziness that has just taken over the world, and we're more hip to it than ever, right? Because of social media,
right,
internet, and all this stuff. And so, if that's not a wake up call, I truly don't know what is, because it's just
right,
like the reality of the situation, bro. We're not all gonna live forever,
right,
and we can't continue to live in this facade, this fantasy, expecting that that's what's going to happen. You need to have those things. You need to have life insurance. You got to have a will.
right,
You gotta whether you want to be cremated or buried, like though all these things, they may seem taboo, but have those conversations. It's better to have those conversations early on when things
right,
are good than when shit hits the fan and it's just like, what do we do?
right,
You sitting there like, damn. Um, and like I said, it's not an easy conversation, which is why these conversations are taboo. No one wants to have that
right,
difficult, right? Like,
right.
like let's say you're dating like your girlfriend of like 3 years, and she's just like, hey, babe, like, what are you gonna do if I die? And it's just like, what? Like, a conversation like that is just like, well, fuck. Like, I mean, do it like, damn, like you just go hit it. But I know, I know it might catch you off guard, and it may be kind of funny, and maybe like kind of like dark, whatever.
Right,
However, but death is a very, very much a reality of life, and
right,
just where there's life,
right,
there's death. Where there's death, there, like it's very much a thing. So, to your point, bro, I don't think it's
right,
ever too early to start having conversations and to start looking into those resources, because you need them.
right,
Your family needs them, and stop horsing around acting like you just got forever and a half,
right,
like in your.
right.
He does.
No, it's crazy, bro. If we can talk about life, right? Why can't we talk about death?
Yeah,
Because they're all part of life, right?
yeah,
Without death, there's no life, right? They all goes together.
yeah,
But it's okay to, like, talk about life, but it's frowned upon to talk about these things, right? Glenn, bro, like, we do believe that we're gonna live for sometimes we believe that we're gonna live forever, and we don't think about the impact that we leave behind, or the hurt, right? That with the people around us when we transition. So I think for me, man, those things are
yeah,
important. Like, you're young, your family, man, and especially for us who are young, it's a lot cheaper. So definitely got to take advantage of that.
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, man, imagine God forbid something happens,
yeah,
and then your family has to deal with that,
yeah,
and then not have to figure it out from a
yeah,
financial
yeah,
standpoint. At least now they just have to focus on the grieving process, right? They ain't got to worry about all the extra complexity that comes with that, man.
yeah,
So I think it's important, bro. I think it's just like, bro, when I was going through my surgery, I was scared because they're like, God damn, God forbid, what if happened? What happened now?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
It's one of those things that you start to, like, reflect and have anxiety about, because you never know, man. Because sometimes people have surgery and they never make it, right. So it makes you, like, realize, like, damn, bro, life here, man. One day you're here,
yeah,
the next day you're gone. So
literally,
it's just about, you just have to enjoy that process.
yeah,
Just make sure that time you're here,
yeah,
man, the people around you, like, celebrate, bro. Like, just hearing about Torian, bro, like, I was like, damn, it's
yeah. I think
crazy.
Torian was 32 years old, I think.
Like,
Yeah.
just
Um, that's the thing about. I will say that's the positive. that comes out of grief, right, is and loss is because grief is attached to love, right? That
Right.
this is talked about that earlier. Grief is attached to love, and when you love someone so hard, you grieve even harder when you lose them because
Right.
it's it's like I said, that burden of loss is placed upon the survivor.
Right.
The person who has transitioned on, they're not dealing with that hurt.
Exactly.
Like that. Us here on in the physical realm, we're the ones that are dealing with that burden and that heaviness of what that looks like and all the good and bad of that. Right? But I will say that is the one positive thing that comes out of grief
Right.
is a new enlightened like perspective of life, just knowing that like because our time is so finite,
Right.
I have no excuse to give it my all and make my life as meaningful as possible while I am here.
Right.
I I truly could not iterate that ever more because I think we all want to be great, right? We all want to live meaningful lives. We all want to make an impact. But there's nothing like losing someone close to you to really put that into perspective of how mortal we truly are and how it can be gone at any moment and how we all have no excuse. I'm not saying the cliche of like live every day as if it's your last, but I do live every day as if it's on
Right.
purpose, right? I'm
Right.
here pursuing my purpose and I'm here trying to make things happen and because it's not just for me, right? Like I said, that it's we carry that weight on our shoulders of our ancestors and all of the people who have who we're walking with, all the people who have transitioned on the other side. We want to fulfill their legacy just as much as we want to fulfill ours because
Right.
their legacy becomes a part of ours because they're no longer with us, right? So
Right.
all the people that I've lost, my dad, my baby brother, my grandparents, all these people, because they're no longer here with us, here with me in the physical realm, I now have to carry on their legacy and I have to make sure that I make shit shake and I carry on the Willard name as best as I can and make
Right.
future generations proud, make the people who we've lost and who are on the other side proud because I'm very much a spiritual person. I believe those people are smiling down upon us. They're conspiring in our favor. They want the best for us, and we can't ever forget that, And so, like, you
Right.
want the crowd, just like I don't think people like understand. I would literally. I'm not gonna say I would kill, but
Right.
I would literally do just about anything to have another conversation with my dad and my baby
Right.
brother. Just one
Right.
last
One
conversation.
last.
Tell them how much
Right.
I love them. I hope I'm making them proud, and if there's any kind of advice or anything that they could recommend to me, like I don't think people understand just how much what you would do to have that conversation again because you can't, right?
Right.
You don't truly appreciate something until it's gone, and it's so
Fact.
true because
True, bro.
when you realize that you can no longer call this person, you can't leave them a voicemail, you can't send them a text, you can't pull up to their crib, they're like they can't put when you realize that and it truly settles in that this is a reality, all those thoughts run through your head and it's just like damn, the longer that you live with that, like I said, I mean it's been a long time since my dad and my baby brother
Right.
passed, but it's something like I still carry to this day and I think about them every day and it's just like I would do anything to have one last conversation, like just one final conversation. That's all I would need. But it's a hell of a thing, man. But like I said, I think when you process that and you truly come out the better person that you are, because you will become better from it.
Oh
I
yeah.
promise.
Oh
It's gonna be
yeah.
hard. You will become better. But when you do see that positive in life of just knowing that like I got to do this. Like
Right.
there uses I got to make the most of life,
Right.
and uh, yeah, it's that simple.
So be honest, bro, like I have a hard time sometimes believing, especially when someone close to you, you love and care about passed away, then, people like everything happened for a reason, right? And sometimes it's hard for
Yeah,
me. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like sometimes it's so hard
yeah,
for me to find a reason in that because like my mind can't fathom any reason. Like,
yeah,
where's the reason in that, right? Where's the
yeah.
reason that like my bro, my friend that I care about, like Young has all this vision, goals and like what like when then people like everything happened for a reason. But so for me personally, I have a hard time like even though I believe in God and everything, but I have a hard
Hmm.
time sometimes finding the reason in those things. Because I'm being honest, like I sometimes don't see the reason in those things.
Hmm.
I have a hard time just like understanding and just believing it because I don't see like why.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it to like strengthen me, like but I sometimes really don't see the reason. Like
yeah,
when people say everything happened for a reason, especially when it comes to like someone that you love and care about, like
yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a tough question, man, because when they say everything happens for a reason, when it comes to loss, there is no reason.
right,
It's that simple. There,
right,
I promise you, no reason. You can't make any reason of it. You can't make any sense of it. You can try. You can
right,
look inward. You can look into your spirituality, your faith. There's all this curiosity, right? You're searching everywhere for these answers. Well, please tell me why
right,
this happened. Like
right,
make it make sense, right?
right,
Just make it. You're never gonna make it make. It's never gonna make sense because the reality of it is it just there is no reason.
right.
Honestly,
It just happened. I agree.
it's just a part of life. That is the reason. Death is just a part of life, and
Right,
that's the reason that I can offer. And
right.
honest, um,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
something that you never move past.
right,
You know, like it's just something that, like I mentioned it earlier. You just learn to cope, right? You know,
right,
and you're gonna like naturally just be curious and just want to answer all these questions. The only thing I could say is like the only reason why I would say, and because I mean I subscribe to that oftentimes too,
right,
is everything happens for a reason. The reason that I say that is because I no longer look at my like the death of the people that are close to me as a bad thing.
right,
Uh, it was a very sad and very unfortunate thing in the moment, and still is to this day. That's the reality of it.
right,
But there are multiple truths that exist at the same time, and the other truth of that is I wouldn't be as strong of a person as I am now if those things didn't transpire in my life. And so,
right,
um, as much as I would love to have my dad, my baby brother, and all my loved ones who have passed on with me, um, and I'm sure they want to be here too.
right,
At the end of the day, that loss and that grief helped mold me into like the unwavering, the very strong, the
right,
very free thinking, the very just ultimate confidence, believer in myself that I am today, and I
right,
would be that person
right,
if those things didn't happen to me,
right,
right? You know,
right,
if my dad didn't pass, if my baby brother didn't pass, if all these people close to me didn't pass, like I don't know what life would look like. Life would
right,
look like, and it could be for the better, right? You know,
right.
like of course I would love to say that, like I'd love to have my loved ones here, you know, but I think that's the only positive thing I could say about loss is like it
Mm.
it just makes you a stronger person. And I know
Right,
it sounds cliche, you know.
right,
I know you'll become stronger from it, but you
yeah,
truly like you know you're cut from a different cloth, man. Because like you
right,
know you realize it's just like damn, like
right. It's true. No, I can see that though, because even like with me having surgery, right? Because I feel like there are certain pain.
in here, you know.
So even like just for me having surgery, right? Because I noticed that my pain tolerance has increased dramatic. Like it's crazy, right? Insanely, bro. So there
Yeah,
are certain physical pain right now that doesn't really affect me. But like, bro, I've been in pain like 10 out of 10. I know what it's like. So little, like I was walking the other day. I stumped my toes. I was like, it was okay, but
yeah,
like it was crazy. I was just reflecting, like, damn, that's crazy. Because I've been in so much pain lately,
yeah,
and like the little pain doesn't really affect me no more into that capacity. Like, damn, like it's like really hurting because I experienced so much pain. So I think, like to your point, that's kind of like something similar because you experience like grief on a whole new level.
hmm
It's kind of like makes you a lot more harder. Not like it's not harder, but like you're not able to like process life a little more
yeah,
different, right? Because you experience something traumatic than someone who never experience that. So I would say maybe if you want to look at, the reason, I think that would be the reason, right? Because now you have something to like compare it to. You go through something hard. You understand what that process like going through something hard.
hmm
I don't know. Before we conclude, though, I have another quick question. Like, are you afraid of death? No.
no,
Okay.
I'm I'm definitely not afraid of death. I be, being that I've just experienced so much death in my life, I don't want to necessarily say I'm immune to it because I'm not. You know,
Right.
I like it's not that death scares me. I'm just like more concerned about like I think what scares me is not fulfilling my purpose and my destiny and everything that I'm meant to before I
Right.
like I think that's what scares me more
Right.
is like this earth and knowing that I still had so much left to give,
Mm.
much more to do. I think that's what scares me more than
Right.
death. Because at the end of the day, death is very much a part of
Right.
reality, and I'm going to die one day. Like I'm not immune to it. Like
Right.
I'm steps here. Like that's just not the case. So no. To long story short, short answer, yeah, I am not afraid of death. Like I said, I think that is just like leaving this planet, leaving this universe
Right.
um, before I fulfilled
Right.
my potential. You know,
Right.
before I did everything that I was set out to do, because I know that
Right.
I'm meant to accomplish great things, and to leave the world and just have so much left to do and give, bro. That I'd be on the other side kicking and screaming and just damn.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah,
No, that's
I,
good.
I think that's long story short. That's my answer. What about you? Are you afraid of
No,
death?
oh, I'm not gonna say I'm afraid, but I think for me it's more of like the uncertainty part of it, right? Because one of those things, 'cause everything else in life we all know about it, how it's gonna be like, and death is one of those things that no one else have been there and been back for you to like actually understand what it's like.
Yeah,
So being that is so uncertain, something I question, right? Because at the end of the day, like something you question is heaven real? Is hell real? So it's not more about me; it's more about like the afterlife part of it, right?
yeah,
So now I'm focusing more like I have to like live my life a certain way because if I do believe in heaven and hell, then I don't want to like, God forbid something happen,
yeah.
go in hell and spend the rest of my life over there. So it's not more of like I'm afraid,
Hmm.
but just trying to be more strategic in the sense that what happened, when I'm gone. And also too, bro, I'm not really afraid for me because like I said, bro, like going through this surgery made me a lot more reflective on life. Because when I was going through it, I was like, God forbid if worse happened, I don't make it. I wasn't concerned about me per se. I was mostly concerned about my family.
Yeah,
How will they react? How will they feel? So I have more sympathy for them than myself because I didn't really care what happened, right? I was mostly concerned about
yeah,
them, like how my mom is gonna feel, man, like my brothers, so it's mostly concerned about my friends and
yeah.
family than myself. So I didn't really care about myself in the sense like if it happens, it happens, right? But I was mostly concerned about the people I'm leaving behind, how they're gonna take that loss, how they're gonna respond to that. That was mostly like my concern.
Absolutely.
I can hear you, Z. Uh, uh,
Uh,
yeah, I can hear you now. We
okay.
good. Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's a very real thought to your. I think also as men too, right? We're
Right.
providers, right? So like naturally, like you to be able to leave your family with something you do leave. I I definitely hear what you're saying, man, and I totally understand as well. Ray, the question was, are you afraid of death?
Um, no, not at this point in my life.
Hmm.
I'm curious about death though. I think I don't look at it like a field of an esoteric concept that is so far left that we can't get information about it. I don't think a creator would bless us with knowledge of life here and our life after. So I kind of dismiss the whole theory that you can't know what happens in the afterlife. I do believe, though, I challenge people to look at it in a way of people have studied death for thousands, I mean, years. Like the biggest example would be Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, he died on the cross, but it was documented that he rose
Hmm.
again, and people saw that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to me, it's kind of like if you look at the Egyptians in the study of like mummies and how they would wrap them in pharaohs would be in these temples and stuff, and their body would ascend, and they would have like certain ceremonies and stuff centered around, connecting with ancestors. Like I think, um, I don't know if it's much as like if it's a death to the flesh, but it's like a transitional aspect. Like I believe the spirit essentially leaves the body, and I think again, I would say get curious because there's certain people who have had near death experiences, or they've been in comas, or they've been claimed like not living,
Right.
and they created a visual. Well, they didn't create it. They saw something in their visual field that gave them a real experience. And I believe that, energy is never created nor destroyed. It's only transferred. So I don't think we can think of something without it already existing. Now, we might not have the depiction of it in a way of it being crystal clear and pristine,
Right.
because it's a very unique thing. And I think wherever your spirit dwells is what you experience.
Right.
So I think it's an accountability as well. Like, you have to understand, like, whatever you naturally conjure in this energy is felt and it's attracted to. So whatever your transitional aspect is, when you don't have a body that, like a spirit, a house for the spirit, then it's going to attract it and amplify it at a much faster rate. So you'll see things different in the spiritual realm than somebody else would.
Yeah.
It's all energy. And I think a lot of times, like, they make it so esoteric, but
Right.
I don't believe anybody that's in a position of power would not study death and then say it's indescribable other than a fear tactic.
Right.
I'm really on that side of it. Like, okay, they telling us you can't see it,
Right.
but then we getting Project Blue Book coming out the works and they saying that, okay, we have documentations of aliens and we had all of this stuff that's in their dialogues and accounts, like statistical data. And yeah, I think it's been a strong fear tactic. I think it's been a fear tactic since, since religion and state's been one. So
Yeah.
I don't know if, like, I think death is an easy way to create an energy vortex for somebody that you have to do this. But I would say I don't know if it's. I mean, the complexity of the world that we live in is already a phenomenon, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we on this big blue planet that's just floating in the air.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And because somebody with a measuring stick, or they looked at, Galapagos finches for eon, or for, like, we'll say 30 years plus, that time frame was enough to say that person still understood the phenomena that they were studying.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, life in itself it don't really make sense,
Right.
but we've made it make
Right.
sense. Like, we break the matrix all the time. Man, I ain't even supposed to be working here.
Yeah.
I ain't even supposed to be living here. Okay, I'm tripping. Let me go ahead and follow my past and my intuition, do what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think it could be even more simplistic things, like the way that the world is turned. So it's weird to say, like, another example, somebody in the 1930s that was black wouldn't have the same experience now.
Right.
Right. And they couldn't fathom that being in existence. So I really believe, like, I would challenge people to get curious about it I would just say get curious about it. And I would say study energy. I
Right.
think energy is very real. Energy is very
Yeah.
real. You know what I mean? I've had a considerable amount of experiences with energy that was not seen or, like, but definitely felt. Ask anybody in the South if they at home and they hear they what's that little clicker that be in the house? It feel like the alarm detector, the smoke detector. You hear something like kick a
Right.
door, like
Right.
the wooden, like, you hear noises, and you feel like I could be outside rapping and be like, I don't like his energy.
Right.
But what is energy?
Right.
What is he trying? I can't see it.
Yeah.
But I can feel it, though.
Yeah.
Right.
I think as musicians, we're naturally tapped in and tuned in to certain energies and understanding how frequencies work. And I think it's certain stuff, like, even with measuring sticks, that scientists have, the same scientists who are trying to prove these other amazing feats have, like, sensors you can see in the dark and see infrared. But it's nobody that's there visually without this eye being detected.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like certain stuff that is like, I don't know if it's like, I get curious about it because I know it's inevitable. It's going to happen. I can't pretend it don't exist. I don't know who doesn't go around thinking about, like, and then they throw death in our face and murder all of the time. You gonna think about it.
Yeah.
Right.
You gonna think. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why we not talking about it. Like, we all need to be talking. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But the way that it happens and the way that it is utilized, I think, has been one of the biggest tactics that could have pulled off spiritually. Yeah, yes, I believe you can figure it out, but you have to go against the grain of anybody that say it's not possible. But it's so many people, different experiences, man. It's like the world is going from New Orleans to Phoenix to meet my wife, to being in Arkansas. And traveling a lot, I see how certain people live and how their customs are,
Right.
and then how they produce certain results in their customs. But where I came from, nobody can do that, but they don't practice the same things.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe, like, we all have certain senses.
Yeah.
I think we all have certain awareness and abilities, but I don't know where somebody convinced us that that's not a possible thing.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know where we believe accepted it as like a full belief.
Right.
Yeah.
Like who convinced you that it's not, that you can't do it?
Yeah.
Right.
And then majority of people who say they can't, don't try.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't practice something, you're not
Yeah.
going, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like meditation is a real
Right.
thing, but if you don't practice it, you can't speak of benefits.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's a real thing. It's not something I could be like, I could describe without you actually applying it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you would have to apply it. It's kind of like
Yeah.
grinding. I
Yeah.
don't believe, I don't see none of my visions, but somehow they hear.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you have to really be diligent. You have to be studied. You have to live. I think it's a code of conduct, and you, especially having kids, man. The way that we communicate sometimes can be telepathic.
Yeah.
Knowing that my child is in need or of something, or a mother who
Right.
knows that she senses danger on her child before they even walk. But how though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. Like you can say a woman's intuition. All of these things that are said, man, they've been studied. They
Yeah.
don't just come from anywhere. And I say people have valid experiences. I never dismiss anybody's experiences because I think people have them.
Yeah.
You know, and since I don't have them doesn't necessarily mean it's real. And who am I to say that they need to prove it to
Right.
me? But as opposed to them needing to prove it to me, go see for yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I would say. Challenge it from that perspective, and that way you can start to get, I think, contextual things that will show up in your reality as a truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I can't deem what you say and what, but I think the universe speaks to everybody differently. So it'll show up, man. I think my thing with other, I think, experiences beyond this earth, like in a spiritual way, started when I started chasing my dream.
Yeah.
Because it was nothing about it that sounded practical coming from Little Rock, Arkansas, then going to
Right.
New Orleans and then being like, you know what, I'm about to go be a rapper and then connect with all of these people. A lot of those, I can't, like the fact I was in New Orleans at the time that I was, the people were around. Like you got to think of the benefit of your life based on you just being, based on circumstance.
Right.
Like for you to be in a position that you are now, the circumstances around you have to also somewhat be equivalent.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you know how to use the resources around you. How does that, it's so much that man is not responsible for. So how does that line up perfectly?
Right.
And we get introduced ideas and we get introduced certain concepts and then these things start to happen in our reality. So when I wanted to do music, I happened to be in New Orleans. I mean, the history of jazz, the history of culture, the history of like just anything pertaining to like, I mean, so many, it's just so much history that they have there. History of slaves I never heard about. There's certain stuff that I realized that happened to black people that I never even knew about until I went to New Orleans.
Yeah.
So when you get information and you get people that's had these experiences, you start to open up and you also insert circumstances for you to grow and develop. So it's not by chance we having this conversation.
Yeah.
The topic of conversation, you know what I mean? I just found out that my sister's friend had somebody that experienced a lost Friday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And, yeah. And speaking
I
of,
really,
I
go ahead.
wanted to give a quick shout out to Be Easy. I know he mentioned that he's dealing with the loss of a close friend right now, so I just wanted to send love and light his way as well.
Be easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Shout he's in here tapped in. He's always tapped in on the lives, man. So I just wanted to give, send some prayers your way, bro, and just send you love and light, bro. It's never a tough thing to deal with. We've all dealt with it a lot. I think
Right.
just the nature of who we are as people and just like the color of our skin, I think we just like deal with a lot of like of that burden all the time. But just like I said, bro, just sending you love and light. And also shout out to Nessa. I know Nessa tapped in and she said she's not afraid of death, but it does sadden her to think about leaving her family, and
Right.
that she's afraid of an eternity apart from God. So she keeps him first in her life always. So I think that's also
Wow.
something.
What's her name?
Nessa. Yeah.
Nessa.
Yeah.
Wow, that's deep, Nessa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I'm sorry. You were
no, you
talking.
go ahead.
Um, I was gonna say, dang, that's deep, Nessa. And tagging on to what you said about leaving people behind, I think we all transform. I think
Absolutely.
energy is interesting like that. So I think we
Right.
transform and we'll be helping from a different perspective. But that's what I was alluded to. I think we more tapped in and we got more capabilities than we realize as humans. And I
Oh,
think
Right.
as time evolves, as technology evolves, because people go to technology first. So as
Right.
technology evolves and it shows us things like how much the human mind is capable of.
mm-hmm.
Some stuff don't seem too far off to me, bro.
Right.
for us to be able to communicate with an energy like that. It just really don't. Like I could talk to you. Where you at right now? You in New York?
Yeah.
Where you
Yeah.
at right now?
Denver.
You in? I'm in Phoenix.
Right.
Yeah.
How that's even possible? You like the what they say the energy going up to a satellite right now out of space and it's beaming into your phone and it's beaming
Right.
into your phone and then it's perfectly aligning this conversation right now on this device.
Right.
And I got an Android. I don't know you got an Apple, right?
Yeah. iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah. You know the Apple gang over here.
Oh yes, that's another whole nother conversation that don't make sense to me. That Apple and Android even working together right now. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Hey man.
But beyond that, it's like, but that's explained through a book, or that's explained through science. You know what I'm saying? Or that's explained through something that I really don't understand, but I'm gonna really try, I guess, to understand it. But it's explainable when we accept it. So I just feel like as humanity pushes certain ideas forward,
Mhm.
I mean, who knows what we'll be capable of. So I challenge it to really. I think any emotion that's that deep, I say get curious because you can channel that into something
Right.
that could create a drive. I think you can. I think your response to it ultimately dictates the outcome of it.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
and I think also when you do things for other people and you put faith, love, kindness, and you're really trying to communicate that to people every day, and you
Yeah.
fill them up with that. I don't think when they will remember you when you pass, they'll have things that can bring or anchor them to a negative aspect of you.
Right.
So they'll be lifted just thinking your name. I know a lot of people be like Kobe Bryant. I be like mama mentality.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah. Oh yeah.
from what he
Facts.
inspired and what he made, everybody might not agree, but it's a lot of people that's like
Mhm.
mama
Yeah.
mentality. If Kobe was here, I would do this. So at that, because people will still have to make choices on their own.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what will they say when you pass? Like, oh man, if so and so is here, he would want me to live like
Yeah.
this.
Right.
Those things can
Yeah.
be communicated now.
Yeah.
You
Right.
can talk to your fam now. A lot of times, but I don't even want to call. Let me call my. I went to go check on my family yesterday. Let me call y'all. Everything good. Ain't no beef. Let's
Yeah.
chill. I love you. It's what it is.
Yeah.
And I think love is strong, bro. I think love can be felt. Love. I mean, I can go back to a memory that some of my partners. I can still.
Ray, you froze. Yeah. All right. Well.
That's the
Yeah.
Android.
That's an Android. You see what happened? What happened when you got Androids? This is what happens. So, anyways, we whenever he decides to come back, we gonna tell his ass to get an iPhone. I absolutely agree. I think my only challenge to that would be I would really challenge people to not be reactive.
Right.
And what I mean by that is don't wait for trauma to happen in your life to make you realize your potential.
Right.
You know you know what you're capable of. You know everything that you can attain in life. Realize that now. Don't wait for something traumatic like someone close to you passing
Right.
to like make you to put everything in perspective. Because I will say, as someone who's dealt with a lot of loss in life and a lot of grief, it has shaped me in a way. It's hardened me in a way that like I'm very appreciative of. But don't don't share that same similar experience of like you need to go through that traumatic experience to then all of a sudden be
Right.
like, no, I gotta get this shit. I gotta live up to my full potential. Because I think that's the biggest thing about death that scares me, man. It's not death itself that scares me. It's just like truly leaving this earth, this planet, my people behind before
Right.
fulfilling my potential. That scares the shit out of me. Like leaving this earth and knowing I still have so much to leave behind and
So
so
much juice, bro.
bro,
So
like
much juice
that,
out here.
it like pisses me off thinking about it, bro. Like if I were to die right now, I would be so mad because I
Right.
know I still had so much to left to accomplish and so many things to do in life that I would just be so furious. Me and God would be having to have a conversation. I'd be on the other side, like, bro, how you take me out right now, bro? Like of all times, bro. Like I was just starting to get into my groove and find my potential,
Right.
and then I'm
Right.
on, bro. No, bro, we need to have a conversation. Like, send me back, bro. We need to figure this out. Like run this motherfucker back, please.
You
Like,
go back right now.
run that shit back. Cause I'm like, nah, bro. So yeah, I think like I said, it's not death that scares me. Death is inevitable, man. Inevitable. It's gonna happen to us all.
Right.
But I think leaving this earth before you fulfill your potential is honestly like it's it's honestly one of the most discouraging things that I think about, and I think about it on a daily.
Right. I also the same thing, man. Like I talked about, one of those things. Like I say, I'm not. It's not mostly about me. For me, just about the people behind. It's
Absolutely.
like I'm like I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, man, they have to, because we talked about it, we already know the pain, the trauma. I'm like, damn, you're gonna have to go through all that,
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
I don't care about myself, like I just mostly care about just them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like any, because almost around
Yeah.
that hour and a half
Yeah.
mark.
Yeah. I'm gonna let Ray get back in, and I'm gonna just have him do his closing remarks, and
Okay.
then we'll do our closing
Okay.
wrap up.
Perfect.
Um, yeah, man, it's death, life, loss, grief. It's all a very heavy subject, very heavy topic, just all around.
Yeah. Yeah, my phone overheated. I went outside.
Yeah, that's what happens when you got that Android. You see,
No, no, it's not. It's not what.
but
That's not what it is.
that's what happens when you get them Android.
Nah, see, my phone died and I just recharged it and I got it back. That's all they happened. Now it's live again. That's it. Like
Android.
that's the power of Android, baby. I'm
Andrew,
trying to let you know.
Our phones is over here cooling. They ain't overheating.
no,
So I don't know.
over here, over
Your
here.
phone. I mean, that's because iPhones don't go through nothing. You
I
got. You
don't know
can't.
about. I don't know.
You can't drop
I
them.
don't know about
He ain't dropped that
overheating,
phone one
man.
time.
Nah, man,
Overheating, bro? I don't even know about that. What is
we
overheating? I never
battle
heard
tested.
of that.
We battle tested, baby. But Ray, just wanted to
No,
close
he can't do that. He can't do that. I'm gonna get to the closing remark. We talk about that later. He right.
closing remarks on loss, grief, death, life, all of that.
Oh man, before anything, I just want to send my prayers, my blessings, love to anybody that is dealing with that situation, particularly at this moment in time. Um, you know, take your time to feel what it is you feel. How you feel is valid. I won't ever skip that. How you feel is valid. You know what I'm saying? It's really no right way to go about it. And I'm just an open person, man. Anybody on the chat that got any questions, I want to connect on that level, just DM me, man, because that's just on my heart. That's when I heard the conversation, like, it's on my heart. So I definitely can help in that way. And yeah, just keep your head up. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
keep your head up. It's not it's not over with. Your life in this particular, it's not. You still have life in your body,
yeah,
so you can still do something with that and construct it in a positive way.
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
Yeah, man. I just want to say, happy Memorial Day to everyone out there who, loves someone close to you. And that is one of those things, man. Like we all gonna experience that at one point. It's all about how do you process that going forward. And also, man, like while you're here, just make sure your time is spent loving the people around you, making sure you're following your passion, doing things, because life is finite, bro. We have an X amount of time. We're not gonna be here forever. So make sure that time that you have, man, is spent with loving people, just doing something positive with your time,
yeah,
making an impact while you're here. And Z, I'm sorry for your loss, bro. Like I know Tori was your roommate. Have my sympathy, brother.
yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate.
We here for you, bro.
I think just echoing those sentiments, man, is just like sending a lot of love and light, man, to and just prayers. Just I think just like uplifting thoughts to anyone out there who's processing anything. And I'm not like loss, death, and whatever you're going through, man. Life is hard, man. Life be lifing, and so whatever it is that you're going through, just know that one is out there going through something. So don't ever feel like you're alone in this, but feel free to reach out to the people that are close to you. I know oftentimes I'm guilty of it too. I just want to internalize everything. I just want to process it on my own, and I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to do nothing. But take the time to not just process it, but reach out. Be around people that uplift your spirit and make you feel better, because like you truly need that, especially in those moments, times where you find yourself at your lows, man. Like, and it was at your lowest lows and still love you through that, man. That's an incredible feeling, man. So lean into those people, reach out to those people, let them know that you love them, and like
Right.
don't let a day like Memorial Day, don't let like moments like this be the moment that it's just like, oh, like, yeah, because I mean we all get guilty, we all do it, right? Life happens to all of us, we all get busy, we all get tunnel vision, but take a reach out to your people, take a moment to spread love, send love, because like I said, and I'm just going to reiterate it again. Don't wait for trauma to happen in your life to make real potential. Make you it's something like somebody dying for you to be like, I need it. Go
Right.
get that shit. Go get it tomorrow. You know, like whatever the case may be. Life is finite. Life is short, just like you said, DG. So every day to live your light, to live in your purpose, to chase that dream, man, to be the best self that you can, and live your fullest potential. Because no one wants to leave this earth before fulfilling their potential, and I promise you, like, that's so, uh,
Right.
uh, that's all I got to say.
And also, I want to say big shout out to everyone who joined us today.
Yeah,
Appreciate you guys for joining us
yeah,
today. Ray,
yeah.
thanks you for joining, bro. Thanks for the impact, the knowledge that you just share with every one of us.
Yes,
Love it, brother.
Hey,
Yeah.
always appreciate you pulling up and sharing your knowledge, your gems, man. Shout out to Nessa. Nessa was in here dropping gems. Shout out to Cass in here dropping gems. Shout out to BEC. Shout out to shout out to Forty. Shout out to everybody, man. Uh, and shout out and not shout out. Much love to anyone that other side. A lot of people my love and my and dad, my brother, everybody on that other side, man. I just hope I'm making y'all proud. Take a moment to shout out your people that you've lost. We appreciate what's happening, man. Manifest Mondays. We'll be right back here next Monday. Shout out.
All right, fellas. All right.
All right, y'all.
Peace out.